What if buyers stop walking into your showroom over the next 3 months? Are we prepared, Mick? There's a bit going on out there at the moment. And our conversation today of the modern day buyer. What do you reckon?
Well, I suppose the only showroom that's getting walked into at the moment is Woolworths to try and find that toilet paper.
There's a fair bit of scrapping going on out there, Mick, and I've seen a few clips of the local footy team females having a fight over toilet paper.
Oh wow,
that's got heavy.
I think it just shows that when big events like this, or even the changing landscape when it comes to technology or anything really, you've got to keep your finger on the pulse of what your buyers are doing and how they're behaving.
Yeah, and that brings us to this topic, the modern day buyer. And young Lyndon's at home probably watching this, hopefully not with the old coronavirus, but he's pulled up a bit crook in the old throat.
Yeah, he called me this morning and he had his sexy voice on, that's for sure.
So, Lyndon, get better, mate. But to you steel pushers out there, it's an interesting time for us. And we've really got to manage the risk, I feel. And we've had the conversations here in our business. What are we doing right now? If things do really, stop around the country like they have in some other countries, what if the buyers are just going to be sitting at home on computers, on iPads, on phones, still buying machinery and equipment to use on their farms, to use in their businesses, but they're not traveling around and seeing all these machinery dealers around the country?
Yeah, well, sometimes you're presented with things that you actually can't foresee, you can't prepare for, and you're forced to actually just react. So I think the first thing you can do in your business is make sure the rest of your business is disciplined and on schedule, and the things that you can control ahead of time, you do control ahead of time.
Yeah, a buyer's going to be going to field days next month. Are they going to be going to the local trade show? Are they going to be coming to your showroom, or do they want to see more content online? Have you got those videos? I mean, we've been harping on it for weeks now, probably months, but this is a time where you go, hang on a sec, grab my best sales guy, go and chuck him in front of the camera, make those videos, get them on your website, get them on our marketplace, get them on all the marketplaces if you can. Get the decent content where if someone watched it, they could go and make a decision. So Mick, who is the modern day buyer?
Well, they're better informed than they've ever been. You think about the access that they have to information out there. They are researchers. And from what we can see and the stats that we have in the back end of Machines for You, we see the likes of purchasing officers from BHP Billiton and Boeing Defence and some massive names who have need, sometimes for multiple machines and budgets.
Yeah, and maybe they're not just buying one machine. Quite often in generators and forklifts, they're buying fleets, aren't they? So if that's a purchasing officer and you actually capture him on one of these marketplaces, then you might have him for life, but he might buy, 4, 6, 10, 15 machines.
And that's why it's a quality over quantity conversation when it comes to the leads that come through any of your marketing, whether it's a marketplace or not. If you're selling millions of dollars like laser cutters and you get 2 leads in 6 months and one of them buys, that's pretty good, but you only got 2 leads in 6 months.
Yeah. It's about sieving through and getting the buyers. And, we've put up a graph there, what are the age of the people using these marketplaces? And, the leader of the pack is between 45 and 54. But, I look at the graph here and 65 plus is still a big portion of the people on the site. Yes, it mightn't be them that's, clicking into the website. They might have a young niece there or nephew or someone who's helping them out. But they're in these marketplaces, aren't they?
Yeah, well, I think we've pretty much reached total saturation when it comes to technology. You'd be hard-pressed to find somebody in business, at least, who isn't connected online in some way or another. And as you just said, even if you're not, you've got somebody else helping you and informing you and running that part of your business, because let's face it, business relies on technology these days. Yeah,
my mum, she missed the computer era of Bev Krebs, one of our best supporters.
Biggest fan. We're going to make a t-shirt, Steve, that says liked by Bev Krebs, I think.
But she missed the computer era, but she, used an iPhone, and then we hooked her up with FaceTime, and, she's on Facebook and bits and pieces, and now through iPads, that is her modern day computer, and she still buys bits and pieces now. I'm like, Jesus, I never thought I'd see the day, but she's in there, she's, using the web, she's buying things, she's keeping in touch with people, and over 70.
Well, it was an easy transition. I mean, people don't see iPads as computers, they see it as a bigger phone, and everybody was able to adopt the phone when it came to using technology. Not everybody's sitting in front of their desktop computer anymore that's tucked away in the office.
Yeah.
They've got access, they're always connected, they're always on their phone to dangerous levels. If you drive down the highway from Brisbane to the Gold Coast like I do every morning, and you look at the guy in the car beside you, and he's doing these ones as he's driving, checking his phone. Yeah. It's pretty unsettling.
Pretty scary, Mick, and that's why the old Queensland government's jumping down it and got some hefty fines heading out people's way.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about the buyer behaviour, on our site, 80% male and 20% female. There's different age groups. Buyer behaviour, what are they doing?
Well, they have so much information at their fingertips now. We've all checked Wikipedia because we couldn't remember the name of that person or that guy from trivia. If you're researching product, if you're researching machinery, you've got a wealth of information out there that you can choose from. So making sure that you've got the right stuff for your buyers to actually find, be it on a marketplace or on your own website, is so critical, because they'll skip right past it because they'll just move on to the next one.
Yep. So they're time poor. A lot of these people that are in our marketplace, it's capital equipment, it's business to business. These guys are time poor, they've got families, they're, running big business. I mean, we've got some big contractors here, $30 million worth of machinery, and throughout the time of the day, they're digging holes and organising teams and getting things going. So, it falls in, we've been saying it 24/7, it could be 3 o'clock in the morning when they feel like, hang on, that machinery's not running too well at the moment.
Yeah.
That's when they wake up with the pain. We see it on our site, the different times, the different traffic on the site. It's, as we've said, it's over, after 7 o'clock when the kids go to bed. 8 o'clock's our busiest time on the site at night, Mick.
Yeah, because that's when business owners finally have the time to sit down, usually on the couch, while My Kitchen Rules is on in the background.
Yeah.
Flicking through their research. It makes sense that that's the most important time. Where's that chart from?
You should know that, Mick. It was a beautiful report that we launched out last year. Louise was all over it, wasn't she? So the big orange report, that's where we're grabbing our stats from today. So if you want one of those, put a comment in the comments bar there and we can hook one out to you. Plenty of people have taken us up on it and using it for their business to help them purchase and see where their brand stacks up in the market.
Well, one of the other things that we wanted to talk about here is that the buyers spend so much time researching. If you can offer value and not do the hard sell, if you can actually give them more information that they weren't able to find online, you're going to be seen as that trusted advisor, and therefore they're going to trust you better when it comes time to actually hand over the credit card or the billing details. Yeah,
well, we see it. They're on the site. When they're going through the buying cycle, and then they get to the hot stage, and they're on there for a couple of hours, sieving through machines, looking at it, reading articles from the magazine, and of course they go onto other sites, they go onto your websites, they go onto the OEM websites, and they're really getting so much information. So by the time they actually contact you, you've got to be on the game. You've got to be good to go, because these guys possibly will know more about their products than some of your sales guys, mate.
Yeah, and that comes back yet again to that value of that lead. If they have chosen to reach out to you, know 100% certainty that they have done their research and they know everything about that machine, they know about the competitors, they've actually made that decision most of the time. And what they're looking for is good service, good customer experience, and obviously a fair price.
Yeah. And of course you're up against the competition. So they're playing against you too. Yeah. So the most popular day on our website, Wednesday, the middle of the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, really good day. Leads submitted over time. Around 10 o'clock, we get the most leads on our marketplace. 10, 12. When we look after 8 p.m, there's still plenty of leads going through, but not as many as that 10, 12 o'clock around lunchtime.
Yeah, well, you got those morning meetings that kick off at 7:30, 8 or 8:30, asking the question, why has that machine not been purchased, or why haven't we fixed that machine, or that need comes up. Makes sense that right after that morning meeting at 10 a.m, you're jumping on a marketplace, putting through a lead on a machine.
Makes sense, mate. And then when we look down the page there, we've got 18% of leads were on the weekends. 41% of the leads were after hours, So that's all the stats we've been talking about over the last few months. But it just really shows you, what the buyer behavior is. Which now leads us into the next topic, Mick. How are they doing it? This tech, how are they accessing all this information?
Well, everybody's got a computer, a high-powered computer in their pocket, and they've got access to that, to the information on that, immediately and 24/7.
Yeah.
That's how they're searching. Like, what are the stats for us for when it comes to mobile devices? So you've got them there.
Yeah.
42% of browsing our marketplace on the phone.
It will be different per industry. That's a whole overview of the marketplace. I know in trucking, mobile's very, very high. Farming, when they're out on the paddock, tractor, it's running a bit rough.
Yeah.
We get, in between smoko or, ploughing the fields, they stop up and sit on the hay bale, Mick, and have a bit of a look around. Tablet, 11%, desktop, 46%.
Yeah, which means more than 50% are browsing or researching and looking online on mobile devices, more than 50%.
Yeah, and then they're going through to their websites. So how much energy and effort are they putting into their websites with the right information? How does your website look on the old mobile phone when your customer's on there? These are all these little digital things we need to be checking, and definitely if over the next couple of weeks we're all bloody grounded back at ground zero, back at headquarters home, you want to make sure your websites are really up to date. Make sure your team's got those videos on there, the PDFs on there, your prices on there. I know we talk about that a lot. But the more information you give people at the moment, the more future-proofing you're doing with your business right now. You've got to manage this risk, and I like to just, something like the old coronavirus comes along, and I go, oh, we'll be right, just leave that over there. But it's obviously affecting us. That share market didn't pull up too well on after the weekend.
No, everybody's crashed. And in the travel industry, I was talking to somebody. They reckon it's worse than SARS and 9/11. This coronavirus, and it snuck up on me.
Yeah.
It was one of those things that it was just like, people will get over it.
Yeah.
It's actually seriously affecting business. So you have to start thinking about ways to get ahead of it. And if people aren't going out and people aren't traveling and they're not going to trade shows, they'll definitely be on that device in their pocket, still doing their research, because the need doesn't go away.
Yeah, so look at your marketing dollars. If you're still spending a heap in the print and, in those trade shows and everything else, just steer a bit more over to the things that are going to work for you. Your website, your online gear, your videos. Go and make some videos. It's not going to cost you any money. It's just getting someone smart in your team to go and chuck them in front of a machine and get it going. Well, Mick, time's flying. We're going to be up for a break shortly, and then when we come back, we're going to be talking about where they're hanging out. See you shortly. So if one of your team members come to you and say, I've decided I'm out, they started that process 3 to 4 months earlier. So the reality, when a staff member checks out and then you replace them with someone new, you're looking anywhere between 6 and 9 months. One of the most important areas we found when looking at retention of a staff member is actually back at the start. Anytime you guys have a successful sale, you want to ring the gong and then come up here, and the person who did it want to explain why. If they are trained well, they won't take the knocks, and they will understand how to do the role better, and ultimately they're going to make you happier, they're going to be happier, and then your customers are going to end up happier. So we are constantly training our people. It's part of the DNA, if you like, of our company. Daily training for everyone in the business. Problem, solution, you know, if you use our mowers, this does this.
Well, he's got a lot of brand pride. He manufactures to Australian environmental conditions.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of people.
So what are you doing in your business to hold on to the best people in your company? A lot of people think, oh, if I train them, they'll leave. What if you don't train them and they stay? You want to have staff who really understand your product and how they're going to serve your clients. That's the buzz for me.
I've got a mad buzz.
It gives you a freaking buzz. So over the next few months, we've gone and found a couple of really smart people, and they're going to be helping you with recruiting the right people into your business. And then the next part of the stage is we've got a person to come and help you with inducting those people into your business. Welcome back to all you steel pushers. Hope you're enjoying the show. So the topic, you know, these buyers, these modern day buyers, where are we finding them? Who are they? And now the conversation of where they're hanging out online, Mick.
Yeah, well, you would need to know where to actually access them. And I've got the term that everybody's sick of hearing, but it's fish where the fish are. If you're spending your marketing dollars and it's too broad and you're not exactly where your buyers are spending all of their time when they're on that device that we talked about, then you're very much wasting your money and dropping a drop in the ocean, really.
Yeah.
So where exactly? Well, if you're a business and you care at all about business relationships, and I know that all the steel pushers out there do, you're on LinkedIn. You're having conversations on LinkedIn with your colleagues, you're keeping up to date with what your competitors are doing, watching what they're posting.
Yeah.
LinkedIn is the Facebook for business owners.
Yeah, and you know, when you came along, that was one of the first things you mentioned is like, let's, you know, the strength of LinkedIn nowadays, you know, everyone's got a profile on there. All these businesses are, you know, putting their people in there, and especially in the machinery world, they're launching out, okay, I've just sold one of these and it's going out to this customer here. Great way for getting that out, you know, with a video of, you know, why the guy's buying it, what it's going to be doing. And then, of course, success stories, so they can use that. So it just shows the social proof of these, you know, beautiful machines in action. And then, you know, 3 months, 6 months down the track, give them a flogging and then show, you know, your audience and your users that, you know, these things go well, Mick.
Yeah, and it's a publicly available who's who in the zoo, really. If you have somebody come across your desk, a lead come across your desk, you can easily just jump on LinkedIn, find out what position they hold in the company, and then tailor your sales message to that. Are they the purchasing officer? Do they influence the decision maker? Are they an owner operator? There's a lot of information out there available on LinkedIn.
100%. And then that leads to websites, you know, obviously they're on your website. Well, they start back in Google, a lot of them, or if your customers know you and you've built up a decent presence and, you know, obviously you've got your website on your card and they've met you at a trade show, well, then they go into your website. But that is the point where you really got to capture them. You know, in this day and age, the expectations are that you have a decent website with good information on it. Otherwise, you're actually hurting your brand and you're actually, you know, making yourself not look like the good brand of machinery that you actually have. So it can work for you and it can work against you. So it's definitely one that you got to get right. Then, you know, of course, there's the old marketplaces with stats like that in the old Big Orange report.
Yeah, well, we know that most buyers are searching first on marketplaces, but then they're still going back to your website because they want to know that you can be, you know, trusted. Does the website work? Is it up to date? Can I find out a little bit more information about the business before I'm about to spend tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars?
Yeah, well, we did a bit of a check on that and we could see, okay, when they're on Machines for You and then where they go in after it. And we could see that there was a whole heap of people who would find the product on Machines for You and then they would go to your guys' website, you know, or your Steel Pushers websites out there. So that's when, you know, in the directory in your showroom now, there's actually a website link there that the user can go through because we just wanted to make it more user-friendly for them because we knew they were actually doing it and wanting to do it. So we've said a few places where they are, Mick. Where are they not? What about that conference we went to? We went to a digital marketing conference up in Brisbane last year sometime, and a guy called Raywin, what was his name?
Raymond Kerr.
Raymond Kerr, that's it. He stands up and he got us to stand up actually. He said, rightio, everyone stand up. And so we're, 2,000 people across this conference all stand up. And then he says, rightio, if you have watched TV over the last week.
Free-to-air TV.
Free-to-air TV over the last week, sit down, wasn't it?
Yeah. And there was one guy left standing. And you bet your ass he was an advertising agency guy.
It was the guy you knew from up in Brisbane. It was the one guy standing there. Everyone had sat down. It's just a thing of the times, isn't it? You might watch a quick show or something, I don't know if you're into that. There's, who's got a wife or whatever they call them. Farmer's got something or other, Mick. But yeah, there's not many people watching these shows nowadays on the TV, but there's still plenty of dollars going towards it. But
yeah, that's right.
It's all moving in other areas.
But we've got these buyers who are research to the hilt. They know everything about it. They're completely time poor, and then we're finding that these guys expect such a higher standard now than they ever used to.
Yeah, and that brings us to the need for speed. People just want the information when it suits them, and they want it quickly. Business to business, time poor, they want it when it suits them, and they want it quickly, don't they?
Yeah, well, because they've got access to it, they won't settle for information that's not right, that's not accurate, and it's not up to spec. Yeah,
we had an interesting conversation. One of the dealers, you steel pushers, you rang and said, the lead quality wasn't too good, it wasn't going too well. And we said, rightio, we're gonna run this exercise, Mick. For 1 month, we said, your sales team needs to get back to these leads within 2 hours. Okay? 1 to 2 hours, 2 hours max, you get back to them. After the month, we'll have a chat about the quality of leads. They got back to us after the month, had the conversation, because I was with one of the account managers. Oh yeah, the quality of leads is pretty good, Steve. It's actually pretty good on your website. They were just missing out. Because if they put the lead through to 3 companies, they were missing out. They were getting back to them after 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
Oh, bad quality leads.
Yeah.
No, expectation, speed was, you got to get back to these buyers.
And the commitment to actually fill out one of those online forms with the rest. Nobody wants to be spammed. Nobody likes to fill out those forms. So if you've got somebody filling out that lead form and it's coming through, they're going to be genuinely interested.
Well, they've got the world at their fingertips, haven't they?
Yeah.
They can just be anywhere, move through it, get around the place. They can jump on, jump off. They go to your website, don't find what they're looking for. Quick search back in Google, or to your competition. They just do it so quickly. I mean, if you just think of your own behaviour, forget about your buyers, think of your own behaviour. What do you like seeing? You like watching videos, you like seeing a price on something. Put yourself through the buyer's shoes, because you are a buyer ultimately. I'm sure you've all bought a car lately or a house, or, how did you feel when there wasn't much information in there? Or watch what your wife's doing. If she's, saying, oh, no, we didn't do that because, they didn't have the information or they didn't have the price. People weigh up things pretty quickly now, don't they?
100%. And if you've dedicated your time to actually filling out one of those forms, taking the risk to get spammed, and because you need that machine, if the salesperson's not getting back in a timely manner, that's a major red flag for that buyer.
And now everyone's getting reviewed, whether you like it or not, good, bad or other. We've had a few cops, we've had a few sprays, I tell you. Old Lukey Bruce got involved in a couple of those. We had to ease him up a bit. He got a bit passionate about it, mate.
The number one rule is you don't respond to reviews.
We did, of course, because we love to do that. Get on the front
foot. But
you
got to get ahead of it.
Yeah.
Let's not have the bad reviews.
Yeah, well, Google reviews, everyone's reviewing, You imagine being the old Uber driver. You got to make sure you give the mint in the water nowadays, otherwise you're going to cop a spray from someone.
Yeah, well, you can't hide anymore. And people are reluctant to put a good review up, but they'll definitely put a bad review up.
Oh, yeah. They love to, fire off a baddie. All right, buyer expectations, Mick. Here we go.
Yeah, so first of all, we just talked about it. You've got to have a good website. It's got to be up to date. Buyers expect that they're getting the right, accurate information. So if you've got a new model come out for 2020 and you've still got the 2018 model up there, they'll move on, and they'll probably move on to a competitor.
Yeah. On Google, they'll go to the next 15.
Yeah.
15 other businesses like this one. At the click of a button,
Yeah,
all your
it's too
competition.
easy.
Yep, didn't give me what I wanted.
Yeah.
Good content. We've talked about that over and over again, but good customer service. Obviously, a lot of businesses do this very well, and they lead with service, and you need to in this day and age. Fair price.
Yeah, well, the reality is that they are educated. They know what the price is. They know what the retail price is. They know what probably the dealer margin is. They've probably worked that out, making sure that the price is fair, it's not overly inflated, and then back that up with good customer service. That's how you're going to win that sale. If you're not trying to race to the bottom in price, and nobody wants to do that, you're going to back it up with customer service.
Customer service, good photos in the content, Australian made, case studies of your happy customers who have bought good machines, it's all in there. And then it's, is the machine in stock?
Availability.
Availability. How many adverts on the site, where the poor old buyer gets all excited and he's finally found something, and then you don't tell him that something's in stock. You're just about up for a bad review there.
Well, how often when you've put through a purchase, even for us here at Machines for You, you're doing it reactively because you needed it 6 months ago.
Yeah.
You've done all the research. You've finally got to the point where you've chosen it, and then you go to buy and it's not in stock. That's frustrating, and that hurts a lot because now you've got to wait for the one to come back in stock, or you've got to go and start that whole process again and find a new dealer.
Yeah, so then you lose sales through that. I mean, who knows where we're going down with the next few weeks of, we're still going to be able to get supplies. So there's going to be a bit of a race to supplies. I think you should be putting good second-hand machines on. I know there's still plenty of yous out there with your stock in the, on the backyard. It's time to really dust them off, get the photos, get the videos, put them online. Get all your decent parts, because you've always got those in stock. You've all got a $1 million, $2 million worth of parts sitting out there that you need to get out to your customers. So I think it's a good time to go and do all that right now. I reckon the buyers will be a lot happier for it.
I think we skipped over good content, but I think if we're talking about marketplaces, because that's where people are doing their research when it comes to comparing product, you've got to make sure that you have as much information as you can give over. If you've got the right video, if you've got your best salesperson running that video for you, if your listing or your ad anywhere, marketplace or the website, has more information, that buyer will feel more empowered and they'll feel more comfortable talking to you.
Yeah. All right, well, we're flying and we're along here, so it's a bit of a time for a summary and talk about what we've got coming up on the next show. But, so when we look at the points here, keep your finger on the pulse, watch what's going on with the buyers. What the modern day buyer, what's happening, where can you get some stats about what's going on? We share some, LinkedIn shares some, you can go to these keynote speakers around the country, watch some things on, follow some good people, Gary V, get all over those sort of guys, that you'll get a good understanding of what's going on in the modern day buyer.
Stay ahead of the landscape. What's the next big civil contract that's coming up that's going to supply a whole bunch of categories that we have on our website? It's not just worrying what coronavirus is going to do.
Yeah.
There are jobs popping up here and there that if you're ahead of, you can actually capitalise on that.
Yeah. Remember, the buyers are searching 24/7. I'm sure you all get that. Everyone is connected. So, that buyer might know someone else who's going to buy something too.
Yeah, that's right.
They used to come in 2s and 3s sometimes in the old woodworking industry. It was great.
Yeah.
They'd bring up, need a panel saw and an edge bander, and my mate down the road needs one too.
Yeah, well, if you think about it, if you're asking for buying advice, you don't ask the sales guy, you ask your mate.
Exactly. Access through the business platforms like LinkedIn, get all over it. If you're not using it, it's a great tool for you to be using in this day and age. Remember, the buyers are time, Paul, give them the value first. Lead with value. If you're making anything in your website today, make sure they're all over giving more value.
Yeah.
And buyers expect more. They're researching the buggery out of everything.
Yeah.
So,
on the next show,
Declan Kluver from Blended Employment's back. Your good old buddy.
Recruitment. Yeah.
Recruitment next week. Buy better.
Sell faster.
Take care, everyone.